Hi, everybody, and welcome to aupair.com. Today, I interviewed Magali from France. She's been an au pair in the US, and we're going to talk about her experience as an au pair and as her experience as in coming back to France. So, another life. So, welcome and thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for your invitation.
Thanks to you for being here. So, my first question would be something about you. If you could tell us a bit more where you're from exactly, how old are you, what did you study? Just give us the general background of your life.
Yeah. So my name is Magali, but when I travel, everybody call me Maggie. It's easier for everybody. I was so tired of me saying my name is Magali and everybody will be like, oh, Margaret or Magdalena. No, that's not the same. So yeah, when I travel, everybody call me Maggie and it's better. I am 31 and I studied to be a social worker, and I come from a small town. It calls Saint-Quentin. It's between Lille and Paris. And yeah, so I was working as a social worker for 3 years, and I just decided to quit my job and to go to the US to be an au pair. I always wanted to go to the US, and I started to search the best program to go there because I know it's not easy to try to stay in the US. And yeah, being an au pair was the best option for me. So I quit my job, and yeah, I decided to do everything to be an au pair, and I lived for a year in San Francisco.
A very interesting beginning. So, you were already working and you decided to leave everything and go to the US. So, how old were you when you applied for being an au pair?
24. So
24.
yeah, I was old, but I was scared to do it. And I was thinking about doing this for a long time, but yeah, I was scared. And when you have a job in France, it's not easy to find a job in France. So when you have one, you just want to keep it. So, and everybody was like, are you sure about doing this? Are you sure you have a job and it's great for you and you have a situation here? And are you sure you are gonna quit everything just to go to the US? And I said, yes. So I did it.
Wow, it was very brave indeed, because it's not easy to leave everything and then just go, especially if you're already in the job market. So, very interesting. And why the
Yeah,
US? Why did you choose to go there?
I don't know. I think it was like a dream, like the American dream. You want to go to the US, and I used to travel to the US a bit when I started to work. I had a lot of vacation, so I did some holidays there with my sisters, and I really liked the country. And yeah, being an au pair was the best option to live there, to stay for a year, and it's not very expensive to be there. You to go there as an au pair. So I think it's a good deal. It was a good deal. And because it was my first experience abroad and far from my country, I wanted something safe. So I applied with an agency who helped me to do everything to organize my adventure to be an au pair.
Okay. And of course, the process to be an au pair in the US is very specific because not every country has so many rules. So you have to apply with a full service agency, first of all, apply for a visa. So, how did you find the process? Was it relatively easy to apply through the agency? Was it expensive also to apply at the first point?
Mm, I can't remember because it was 7 years ago.
Fair
I
enough.
don't. It was not very expensive, like I think $500 maybe. So it was okay. I had few interviews with the agency, and then I did everything online. And after a few weeks, I started to talk to the family. And yeah, so maybe it took me 6 months to prepare everything and to go to the US. But I think it was easy to do it. And at the same time, I was 24, so it's not like you are 18 and you want to go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. And so you, of course, you had to fulfill some requirements before going, for example, having a driving license, right? So you
Yeah.
already had everything before going.
Yeah, but because I lived in California, I had to do my driving license again there. So yeah, but everything was fine before I went to the US.
Okay. And so you stayed there for 1 year with the same host family, or you changed in the meanwhile?
No, I stayed for a year in with the same family.
Okay. And how was it? Did they welcome you right away? Could you tell me something more about your experience with them?
It was a good experience, but it was a bit difficult because they considered me just as an employee. And yeah, it was a bit difficult because I decided to do this program to just to share my culture and to learn English and to discover the country. And yeah, so it was a bit difficult, but at the same time, it was fine. I lived in a beautiful place, and yeah.
So they consider you more as an employee rather than a big sister. And how many kids do they have?
4.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a lot.
Okay. How old were they?
Um, 11, 8, 6, and 3.
Okay. So you had a whole range of kids to take care of.
Yeah, 2
Wow.
boys and 2 girls.
And of course you were a social worker, so maybe you already had experience in the field, so working with kids.
Not really, because so I used to say a social worker, but it's more a job advisor. So I used to help people to find a job. Yeah.
But you were required to have some experience with kids also prior, so before the experience, right? So which kind
Yeah.
of experience did you have? How could you testify that you have this kind of experience with the kids?
Yeah, so I did. I was an educator, like for summer. I was a basketball coach as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I had my experience through this type of adventure.
And once you arrived in the US, you did a course, like a preparation course, or you just started right away after your arrival?
So I stayed for 3 days. I think it's 3 days in New York, and then I went to San Francisco to meet my family. Yeah.
And in general, how were the kids?
It depends. It was not easy, but it was nice to be with them and to discover their routine and their activities. And so we used to speak French because they go to the French school in San Francisco. So it was easy for me, but at the same time, I didn't improve my English very well. Um, yeah. So I did a lot with them. I used to drive them to school and went to the park with the little one. And we did a lot of activities together, like going to the museum or just stuff at home. So, yeah, I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah, I think it's enough. And how was the experience with your other fellow pairs? Did you meet lots of people there who were also working as an au pair? Was there a network of au pair there in San Francisco?
Yeah, I met a few people, but not that much. I used to work a lot for this family. I work 45 hours per week, so it was a lot. But I used to go to the school as well. So in the morning, every morning, I tried to go to the city college to learn English. And I met few people there, and yeah, I had few friends, au pair friends, but yeah.
And what was the most striking thing that you found in your host family? Was there like a cultural shock for you once you arrived that you experienced with them, or was it more or less smooth? Lots of au pairs talk about the food differences. That's always a point. So the food is very, very important, of course, in our culture. So that's always a point. I don't know if it for you was it the same.
Uh, So for the family, I cooked every day. So I used to prepare the meal for them, so for me as well. So no, it was fine for me. And I used to travel to this country, so I knew a bit what was it to be in the US. So for me, it was fine. I didn't find something very big or a big difference. I think the most difficult for me was to be and to feel like I am just an employee there.
Okay, and wow, it's a very interesting experience, of course. And did it change somehow at a certain point of your stay, this relationship that you had, especially with the host parents, or it just went all the way as an employee job, basically?
Yeah. So I think it took me a few months to realize that
Mm.
and to be like, okay, I'm just an employee, and to accept, okay, that's fine. I am fine here. And yeah, I just accept that, and it was okay. Just we are not, we didn't keep in touch after this exchange.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a bit sad because it's always nice to keep talking and know if people are fine. And yeah, but it didn't happen for me, but it's okay. And yeah, so after being an au pair in the US, I went to Australia, and I was an au pair there as well, and it
Ah,
was
okay.
totally different.
Okay.
Totally different. Like, so maybe last time I visit them, I was with them. It was maybe more than a year, and we keep in touch. Maybe not every day, but every week or every month we keep talking, and yeah, it's so different.
Okay, so it really depends, of course, on the family and also on this feeling that you have with them. So you went also to Australia. Okay, tell me something about that as well. I'm interested.
Um, so after my adventure in the US, I went back home for a year, and I worked as a social worker, as a job advisor. And after a year, I was like, okay, I need to go again somewhere. And I applied for a working holiday visa in Australia. And because it's really far from France, and I wanted to make sure when I arrived, I will be safe, and yeah, I will have something to do. So I started to look online for a family to be an au pair, and I found one before I went to Australia. So when I arrived there, the family was waiting for me at the airport, and yeah, so I worked for this family for 6 months maybe. And it was totally different. And I think because I had this first experience in the US, after that I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. And so it was easier for me to find a family because I knew what I would like and what won't be okay. So it took me maybe 2 months or 3 months to find the right family, but I So when I was in Australia, I arrived there, they were waiting for me, and yeah, I lived with them for 6 months, and it was a nice experience.
Very different indeed. So always
Yeah,
an English-speaking country, but totally different experience. Very
yeah.
nice, interesting. And so this time you looked for the family by yourself, or you relied to a full service agency?
I did everything by myself. So I
Okay.
applied online for my visa, and I did a profile online to introduce myself and stuff like that. And we started talking, and yes, that's it. And I just booked my flight,
And go. Okay. So
but
it's interesting because after your first experience, which was not that good, then you decided to apply again. So you didn't give up in the experience.
I can't say my first experience was not good, but it was not what I imagined, I think.
Mm.
And but I was open to do it again. And even if so, when I arrived in Australia, I was maybe 27. So I was older again. And I think because I was mature as well, I was able to find the right family because I asked the good question. And yeah, I'm very happy about this.
Okay. And so, given your experience as an au pair in two different countries, what would be your advice to future au pairs, or maybe interested to go either to the US or to Australia or in general? What would you like to tell those people?
So it's not easy. I really loved California, and I love traveling in the US, and I love San Francisco. So I loved my first experience, and at the same time, I think being an au pair and going to Australia was more flexible because of the visa as well. And I knew if I didn't like this family, I just change the family, or I just could travel or go somewhere else. Or yeah, it's more flexible because I did everything by myself as well. Um, yeah.
And what about the right questions that you were mentioning that you were able to ask to the Australian family? What kind of questions were they?
You can ask everything what they like doing, the kids routine, or I don't know, what time you will start in the morning, if you will be able to have a car, or if the train is next to the house, or if there is a school near the house, to if you want to go learn a language or do something else. No, my best advice is to ask everything, because I think it's a good way to try to know them.
Mhm.
And yeah, to see if you can live with them and if it will work.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to, you can ask everything. I think I did it, and it was totally fine. And we used to talk by email or by text, or we did a video call, everything, because you need to talk before you go live with them. So I talked to the girls before I went there, and the mom, she sent me pictures. Yeah.
Okay. So getting to know the family before the whole experience starts. Yeah, it's very important. Even if
Yeah.
you're basically moving to a person, to a family that you don't know. So they're a stranger and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And well, then you came back to France. And after that, you started a new experience because you have a blog And also you run this Instagram page where you take care of people, especially au pairs who are French and returning to France after their au pair experience. So that's a very nice idea, a very nice initiative. How come? How did it happen? Why did you feel the need to create this kind of project?
Yeah, so I really like my job. I really like helping people to find a job or in another way. And so I love my job, but I wanted to do it a bit different, to do something different and to work with other people. And so 3 times I had to go back home because it was the end of my visa, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's not easy to go back to your country, and sometimes you can feel really sad, or and yeah, I just wanted to help people. So because I lived 3 times this bad period, bad moment, um, yeah, I just wanted to help people who go back to France after being an au pair or an expat or after just living abroad. And yeah, I just want to help them to find a job and to be happy when they go back home.
Yes, because of course, if you change your world, then you're a bit, you can feel isolated in your own country as well. So I
Exactly.
think it's very good idea what you do. And what kind of difficulties are au pairs having when they go back to France in this case? Is that they cannot really find their way?
Um, how to explain this? Sometimes you know you don't know what you want to do. You don't know what job you want to do, and sometimes you go to be an au pair, or you just want to travel, and you leave your country, and you will be like, okay, I will try. I will take this time abroad to know what I want to do later. But if you don't question yourself, you won't know. So you go back home and you are like, you are the same, not exactly the same, because
Yeah.
for a year or for a few months you discover so many things. But yeah, and so I think it's not easy after a year abroad to know what job you want to do and what you can say and how to value your experience abroad. So yeah, that's what I do, and I help people to do that.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I wish you good luck with this project, which is called Retour en France. Is that correct?
Voyage, emploi, retour en France.
Retour en France. Okay, I got the last part.
Yeah,
So to whoever is interested to go, well, with especially people who are living in France, then you can find Maggie or Magali in her Instagram page, and also on the blog and website. So I think it would be very helpful for those au pairs who are coming back to France. So that's a very nice idea.
thank you.
Okay, and yes, it was very interesting this talk. And what I wanted to ask you at the end of our interview is that if you would do it again, you would do those two experiences as an au pair again.
Yeah. Yes, I think it was good experience. I learned a lot during my experience abroad, and it was nice to meet other people, and yeah, to try to know me better. And yeah, I will do the same.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So that your two experiences were useful and that helped you also to understand what to do in life, because that's also another very important point. So yeah, thank you for your time and for being here. And yeah, I wish you good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.